What's going on, YouTube crew? It's your boy Blackbeard. To my very few followers on this channel, I haven't uploaded in a couple of years, I think. And that you're wondering, this pops up on your subscriber list. You're like, who the fuck is that guy? Um, but hope you don't unsubscribe. I think there's a few of you, but I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. For those who don't know, this channel talks about court cases. I'm fascinated by the judicial system, by the justice system in this country. Fascinated and completely mortified of the way our justice system is run. By the way, I know I look like shit. I've been, quarantined, working from home, not shaving, so try to ignore how shitty I look and bear with me here. But I'm fascinated and just horrified by certain court cases where it just seems so stacked against defendants who are fighting for their lives, being accused of crimes. The point of the justice system is to make sure that we get criminals behind bars, but there's another half of it, the defense side of the criminal justice system, is to make sure that people aren't wrongfully convicted of crimes. And that's it's supposed to be equal. You got, in every criminal trial, you got your prosecution and you got your defense. And, each one has the right to present their case to 12 jurors who make the decision based on hearing both sides. It seems like it should work. Unfortunately, it does not. And there are a lot of court cases that prove that. Kind of the highlights of my channel have been the videos on the Daniel Holtzclaw case and the terrible way it was handled, the evidence that was presented, the very weak evidence that was presented, and the conviction that led to a 263-year sentence or pretty much natural life. But we're not talking about that today. If you're interested in hearing about that, I will link those videos in the description. But today I want to talk about a different case, and it's a case that just kind of popped up in my just general interest in looking up cases that are controversial, I guess is a good way of putting it. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I think his name is Guy Heinze Jr. Guy was convicted in Georgia in 2014 on 8 counts of first-degree murder, and the case goes that he killed his entire family, 8 members of his family, in their house. They were all beaten to death. He was charged almost immediately after the crimes. It took several years to actually get around to the trial, and he was convicted, I think, 5 years later. The crime took place in late 2009. There's just one thing, and this case brings up just an example of how the prosecution doesn't have to do their job properly in order to get a conviction. So, and this is why, in my opinion, the prosecution's job is to tell the story, find the evidence, tell the story. What happened, okay? How did the crime occur? Who committed the crime? How did they commit the crime? Hopefully why they committed the crime. All of these things are evidence that they're supposed to present to a jury. Investigators in this crime are supposed to look at the evidence and tell the story. And they did not do that in this particular case, okay? They didn't tell the story. They don't know what happened. They don't have a clue what happened, and here's why. Well, let me start with the evidence, okay? So, Guy Heinze Jr. comes home one day, and he makes a 911 call saying somebody came in here, somebody killed my family. The 911 call is on YouTube. I can post the link to that if I can find it, which I will. I'll definitely do that. But he's hysterical. He calls saying somebody killed my family, and they ask, well, what happened to them? Well, they were fucking beaten to death, or it looks like they were killed. I don't know what if he said they were beaten, but he was hysterical. He said, oh my God, they're all fucking dead. I think that day, or within a few days, he was taken into the police station for questioning, and he was never released. Yes, I vape. I'm not a douche, so don't say anything. I'm not a douche. Anyways, the evidence that they showed at trial was there's two things that they pointed out. Number one was he was wearing cargo shorts, and underneath his cargo shorts he was wearing like Umbro type shorts, like workout shorts underneath his pant, or underneath his cargo shorts, and they had the blood of 3 different people on them. I mean, and that is, unfortunately, that is pretty damning evidence, and I found that kind of difficult to explain. Maybe he went up to 3 different people. He was just wearing those shorts before and he got blood on them. Maybe they were still alive. Maybe he went to check to see if they were still alive and he got the blood on his shorts. It's explainable. It's not. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the evidence that killed him at the end. The other piece of evidence was there was a 16 gauge shotgun found in his trunk with blood all over it. And it almost looked like he was hiding it. What they did find through forensic investigation was that shotgun was not the murder weapon. And his explanation is that he was under the impression that shotgun was stolen and he didn't want to get in trouble for it. So after he called the police, he took that shotgun and he hid it in his trunk. And when the police investigated, they found out it was not stolen and it was owned by a member of the family. So they thought that he had lied about that, which I guess he did. The defense said that it was an error. They had several shotguns. He thought that was the one that was stolen, and it turns out that it wasn't. He was tried, convicted, sentenced to life without parole. The only reason he didn't get the death penalty is because there was some shady bullshit with one of the jurors, and apparently one of the jurors knew one of the family members. That juror was excused. The prosecution wanted to get rid of that juror because apparently the juror knew somebody in the family. And the defense didn't want to get rid of that juror. This was during deliberations, actually. And the agreement was that we could get rid of that juror if the prosecution promises not to seek the death penalty. So they got rid of the juror. He was convicted, and they didn't, because it's in Georgia. They'll execute somebody for looking at you the wrong way. So he's currently serving life without parole. Here, and again, the evidence, it's not completely lacking. It's not strong by any means. It's weak evidence, but I'm not surprised that he was convicted based on that. There's only one problem with this case that bugs the hell out of me, and that is that, again, the prosecution's job to tell the story. What happened? How did these people die? How did this person kill those 8 people? One was asleep when he was killed. The other 7 were awake and up and moving. They weren't asleep. So here's my problem with this. Okay, so let's exclude the person who was asleep, because it's that kind of goes against the point I'm trying to make. But the other 7 were awake. Now, supposedly, according to the prosecution's story, this man killed 7 people. He did not shoot them. He did not stab them. He beat them to death. 7 people in a single house by himself. Come the fuck on. One person. Now, I want you to put yourself in this story, or in this situation, right? You have you and 6 other family members in a house, and one of your other family members comes in and starts beating one of your family members with a shotgun. Okay, one of 2 things is going to happen. I know this term is used, fight or flight. These people were in somebody was threatening their lives. Somebody was killing one of the people that they loved. fight or flight. The other 6, while this first person is being beaten to death with a shotgun, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to fight him, or they are going to run away. Neither of which supposedly happened. Guy Heinze had no defensive wound. He didn't have any wounds at all. None. And obviously, none of the other 6, while the 7th was being beaten to death, ran away. So supposedly they sat there and waited for their turn to get fucking beaten to death. It's not plausible, guys. It's not plausible. And this is where I have a problem. I'm not saying Guy Heinze wasn't involved. I don't know. He very well might have been. He was not, certainly. As far as I'm concerned, it's not proven that he had any part in it. There's circumstantial evidence to show he was. There was the blood evidence. It's certainly suspicious. However, there is no way in hell he did this by himself. Now, in my opinion, is if you don't know what happened, you cannot accuse and convict somebody of a crime that takes their entire life away. To this day, they don't have a fucking clue what happened. Because you know, everybody knows, anybody with half a fucking brain knows that it took at least 2 people, probably more than that, to beat 8 people to death in a single house. There's no way one person could do that. And on that note alone, it is a tragedy that this man is behind bars. Again, I'm not saying he didn't do it, but the state that prosecuted him, the investigators, do not have the story. They don't know what happened. And it's obvious. It's obvious they don't know what happened, because we all know the only possible physical way that this could have occurred. And they convicted somebody based on a partial story. And that's not right. Those fuckers need to get to work and find out what happened. They half-assed it, and when you half-ass a prosecutorial job, innocent people go to jail. Again, I'm not saying he's one of them, but I'm saying if you half-ass your job, especially with 12 idiots in Georgia sitting in a fucking jury box listening to this and then still convicting the man, I say this at the end of every one of my videos. Do I think he did it? I don't know. I have no clue. Would I have convicted him? Fuck no. Fuck no. You better give me a plausible story of how this happened, or you fucked up. And I'm not going to send somebody to live in a cage for the rest of their life until you explain to me what they did and prove me beyond a reasonable doubt that they did something. And they did not prove at all, not even a shadow of a doubt, he did not kill all 8 of those people by himself, which was the story that they gave. This case needs to be brought back to life. Again, this was 6 years ago he was convicted, and 11 since the crime occurred. We can't let these things sit for too long. People forget. I believe he was just rejected for a new trial. This is unforgivable by the state of Georgia. And God knows how many other people that this has happened to. And I hate to bring up a political subject here, but I feel the need to remind you that that guy, I don't remember his name, and even if I did, I don't want to pronounce it wrong. That man that was shot jogging by those 2 rednecks with shotguns yeah, I'm going to get a little political here. Those fuckers lied and wait for him to show up, pointed guns at him when he tried to protect himself. They shot him dead, okay? That's all I'm going to say on that. But this happened in the same county. The same prosecutors, the same investigators that waited 2 months to even arrest these 2 jackasses. And this is only after a video came out showing what they did. These are the same people that fucked this guy over. That county prosecutor, I gotta remember what the county is. If I remember it, I'll post it in the comments. These guys are fucking criminals. Okay, they're doing a bad job. Their job, people's lives are in their hands, and they are fucking this up. It needs to be brought to life, guys. These are people's lives we're talking about. These are people that society has completely forgotten about. Guy Heinze, society doesn't give a fuck about him. He's living in a cage. He is a ghost, according to most people in society. It's our job to bring this information to light, okay? Because we are the only hope that they have. suggest we read up on this. We need to bring this back to life, guys. We cannot let this get swept under the rug. This is a fucking tragedy. Anyways, this is Blackbeard. I'm gonna keep bringing this shit up. I'm not gonna let this stuff go. Hope people get to see this and learn about this case because it's really important. Anyways, love you guys. Out.